Alright, now before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare, no stranger to this channel, the online learning community where millions come together to expand their creative horizons. They offer a lot of classes too, classes on film and video, photography, animation, music, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. In a world of the pen being truly mightier than the sword, want to give some love to their creative writing classes, and their class Creative Personal Writing Write the Real You, taught by Ashley C. Ford. It's quite a thing to get your thoughts and emotions out there in creative writing. Furthermore, it's also quite a thing to see those thoughts and emotion in creative writing affect other people. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get 30% off a premium annual membership. And even if you've already had a free trial membership of Skillshare, you can still take advantage of this. And for all, an annual membership comes out to less than $10 a month. So click the link below and get started on discovering your path to discovery. Redundant speak, yes, but that's how I do it. And thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. All right, now, A Quiet Place Part 2. So A Quiet Place Part 2 is written and directed by John Krasinski. It picks up pretty much right where A Quiet Place 1 left off. The Abbott family is on the move. This movie stars Millicent Simmons. Her mother, her brother, and new baby, they're all on the move, and she embarks on a quest into the treacherous terrain of the unknown. The treacherous terrain of hope you don't step on a stick, because if you do, you'll die. So what I liked about A Quiet Place Part 2, really, it's present in A Quiet Place Part 1. This movie, like the first one, has that great sense of tone and tension. That tension with no release, you know, the kind of tension where you're tightening a guitar string and it just doesn't snap. You're waiting for it to snap, but it doesn't give you that release. That kind of tension where you hold your breath and you can't just release, you know? You can't just go, oh, glad that's over. No, it's like, that's all present in the first movie, also present in this movie. Even right down to when people are walking or they're stepping over or onto something and you see everything that can go wrong. Every pencil that can roll, every cup that can be knocked over. You're just like, this is a disaster. I'm looking at Mousetrap. Only instead of a board game, it's death. That is to say, once again, you're going to be watching a movie in the quietest movie theater ever. I mean, movie theaters are at 25% capacity, at least in my state. They could be at 150% capacity. You can still hear a pin drop. Anyone crunching popcorn's like, also, I enjoyed the fact that we get a glimpse of how all of this started. That was a big part of the trailer. It was like, oh, hey, the movie's going to show you how it starts. I enjoy the fact that the movie stays on that scene a little longer than I thought it would. It's not like it takes up a large portion of the movie or anything. It's just a glimpse. It all happens before the beginning titles even come on, but a longer glimpse than I thought. It makes the movie serve as a sequel and kind of a prequel, at least a prequel glimpse. As much of a prequel as I need for this world. In fact, if every Quiet Place movie goes back and shows a little more of what happened after that, a little more of what happened leading up, I'd be fine with it. These little 10-minute glimpses at the beginning of each movie, perfect. Also love the fact how this movie, again, like the first movie, I told you a lot of what I liked in this movie is in the first movie, but I like the fact that these Quiet Place movies use sound to craft the world. I mean, sound is such a huge part of this. Like, sound is the make or break, live or die mechanic of the world. So it only makes sense that this movie uses sound to illustrate the moment, illustrate a perspective, like it does with the girl, you know? She's deaf, so when it's on her in a couple scenes, all the sound goes out, which is really calming. It gives you that tunnel vision. You're like, oh, it's just her. It simplifies everything. And then you're met with the feeling of dread of like, oh, that tunnel vision means I'm missing a huge mechanic that can help me live in this world, and something might be coming up on me. So you go from this feeling of calm to feeling of anxiety and fear all over again. And in A Quiet Place 2, it gets to the point where you start seeing where you think it's gonna go, and it kind of, you're like, oh, I've seen this before. Cillian Murphy in the trailer even says, he's like, the people who are out there, they're not people worth saving. You're like, oh, so we're in The Walking Dead. Even at a point, I was like, this is The Last of Us. Funny enough, it's probably better than any Last of Us movie we'll end up getting. Any enjoyable video game movie is an exception to the rule being they probably will suck. Kind of funny, a movie can accidentally do it. But then the movie just kind of, it keeps you on your toes. It shakes it up a bit. You're like, oh, okay, it's not as cliche as I thought it was gonna be. I appreciate that too. But this movie did make me feel a loss. I really felt like Emily Blunt's character was kind of pushed to the side. Trying to keep this vague for the sake of no spoilers. But what I liked about the first movie was the sense of the family being together, them surviving this situation together. That isn't the case with this movie. There are a couple different things going on, a couple different campaigns, and only one of them really seems to be moving the plot forward. The other one's waiting around for monsters to come, which having two different parties does allow them having two different groups being terrorized by two different groups of monsters. I mean, a kid's gotta grow up sometime. I appreciate the fact that Millicent Simmons gets to be in the forefront and gets that spotlight because she's great. I mean, everybody in the movie is actually great. You know, she's great. Cillian Murphy's great. Emily Blunt, the baby's great in the movie. Jaimin Hunsu's in the movie briefly, but guess what he is? That's right. He's great. But man, I can't help but feel like they broke up the band. And I felt it. And I get that's a very subjective thing with me and what I liked about the first movie. But it is what it is. I mean, you know, a little secret. Reviews, they're just subjective thoughts. And in the end, A Quiet Place 2, I thought it was a really good sequel. It had a lot of what worked in the first movie present in the second movie. If you enjoyed the first movie, you're gonna enjoy the second movie. It's great acting among a thriller with great tone and great tension. A thriller that's made by someone who takes it seriously, and it shows. There's care crafted in these Quiet Place movies. I appreciate that. Solid thrills, a solid sequel, and a great time. No alcohol required. All right, so A Quiet Place Part 2 doesn't hit theaters for another week and a half or so. So I'll ask you, are you looking forward to it? And what's one of your favorite thrillers of all time? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.